Hello and welcome to the first White Lines Football Podcast. I am Lewis and I'm quite ill, I don't know if you can tell, so if I cough, I have to blow my nose at any point and then I'll try and make it as quiet as possible, but sorry about that. I'm here with Jack today.
Right there.
So, mainly we're going to be talking about the Champions League of the week just gone. We're going to be focusing on Arsenal, looking at the Barcelona versus PSG. We're going to later go on to talk about this weekend's fixtures, specifically, Super 6. If you know what that is, then you know, but we'll explain later on if you don't. Then we're going to talk a little bit about Gillingham for our Gillingham fans out there, which maybe will be some, and also me and Jack will both be attending the game this weekend. So, first of all, we're going to talk about Arsenal, Jack.
Yes.
5-1 loss for the second time against Bayern Munich. 1-0 up, but obviously 10-2 on aggregate, so what do you think of that overall?
Well, I feel as though obviously the sending off played a big part in the second game, but I feel they went into it like they weren't hoping for anything. But obviously the game's got to be played, and like
the second leg.
The second leg, yeah. Okay. Obviously the result's already been given, and I think they sort of knew they weren't going to overcome this. But once they went 1-0 up, I suppose there was a bit of hope. I suppose there was a bit of hope if they can get another second goal straight away, then possibly they've only got to get 2 other goals and obviously keep a clean sheet. But obviously, once the sending off happened, I think, and obviously it was 1-0, or was it 1-1?
1-0 at the sending off.
1-0 at the sending off, and then
because the sending off led to the penalty,
which led to
which was the
first goal,
yeah.
And then obviously, so 1-0, having to score 4 goals with 10 men. Obviously, they did hold on for a little bit, but it was only to a matter of time until Bayern Munich got their second goal to go 2-1 up and it just went from there, really, and I think that was a bit of inevitable, and that was obviously always going to happen.
So do you think, so like we'll go on to talk about it more later on, but the Barcelona comeback, do you think it's sort of in the mentality of the players? So I know PSG aren't quite as good as Bayern Munich, but do you think the mentality of the Barcelona players, knowing they could do it, rather than the Arsenal players sort of accepted defeat? Because we saw obviously in the first leg when, I don't know if you've seen the video where they're passing it, Bayern Munich passing it around their own half, and Oxlade-Chamberlain's sort of the only one pressing. He gets angry.
Yeah, I feel as though obviously the players at Arsenal like the midfield and like the attack, like defensively, like it's a bit questionable.
Yeah.
Like whether they're gonna put the performances both sides of the pitch, such as the Barcelona forward line, even like the forward line and the midfield always work hard. But I feel like with the mentality of the Arsenal game against Bayern Munich, I don't really feel the players really had hope. I don't really feel probably the fans or the manager really had hope. But unlike,
I don't think the fans did at all.
Yeah, exactly. Like, but I mean, then you compare it to Barcelona PSG and like 4-0, they probably thought, they're going to make a game of this. I bet very few probably thought that Arsenal make a game of the Bayern game, and that's probably simply just because the fact that they know the players they're with, they know the quality that Arsenal withhold. Like Arsenal right now are struggling to. Literally battling for a top 4 place right now. Their manager's under a bit of pressure, and they've got players that aren't really, defensively and going to work both ways. And obviously, players that you need when you're 5-1 down in a football match.
Yeah.
But I feel like obviously with Barcelona, like they have the players, they have the history, they have the team that they know like is gonna. They have a good chance of pulling it around, or turning it around, and that's exactly what they did. And like credit to them for not giving up.
Something that hit me was like you know how not recently as such, but in our lifetimes, Arsenal moved from Highbury to Emirates to compete. So as people said, with the bigger clubs. Bayern Munich, arguably the best team in the world. Obviously they've lost 10-2, so that hasn't worked out. That was obviously a few years ago now. I can't remember the exact year. I want to say 2006, but I can't remember the exact year.
Around there.
Yeah, where they moved from Highbury to the Emirates, and that was sort of the successful period of Wenger. So 2006, they made it to Champions League final. Is that right? Yeah. Lost against Barcelona. 2004 was the invincible season. So it was around that time. Since then, a couple of FA Cups. Not really anywhere near to the title. Nowhere near the Champions League. I think that's like 8 consecutive seasons or something. They've lost in this round.
Yeah.
So the blame turns to one man, Arsene Wenger. He has obviously run out of contract at the end of the season, been there for 20 odd years. Do you think, 2 questions, do you think he should and do you think he will be offered a new contract?
Well, I feel like At some point, the Arsenal owners, I feel as though they've got Wenger at their club. They've had him for 20 years. They know what they're going to get every season, and there's probably a bit of a worry with the owners that if they're going to get a new man in, how long will it take for him to change? Because obviously going to such a big club, like someone who's been there before, it was just like Alex Ferguson. Like Alex Ferguson is just a prime example when he left Man United. David Moyes, like obviously he was forced to leave because he retired, and obviously it was going to happen one day, and it was always a worry about who you're going to get in. So obviously you get David Moyes and
I suppose
probably an in-form manager.
I suppose it's the same as Wenger, so it was obviously going to happen one day, but I don't think they wanted it to happen like this. So
yeah, exactly. Like I think although like the Arsenal fans are like posters and like whatever, all these wanting to get Wenger out, I don't really feel as though
there was a protest yesterday. Did you see?
Yeah, things like this.
I saw a video on YouTube about "We Want Wenger Out" stuff like that on walking around the stadium.
Like I feel as though unless there's a huge name who's done immensely and amazingly in football in terms of managing, like has put his name on the table and said to the Arsenal owners, right, once you get rid of Arsenal, I'll take over. I think unless something like that happens, which obviously hasn't, then it's obviously bit of a risk to get rid of Wenger as manager.
I think well, there's been talk about the likes of Max Allegri, the Juventus boss, or I don't know, just throw a random name like Luis Enrique, but obviously he wants to take a break. But I'm wondering if Arsenal fans, like this happened with Man United fans, sort of obviously they were like consistently in the top four, which Arsenal have been, which Wenger's done for them from a business point of view. That's good because it gets them in Champions League, gets them money. But the fans want trophies. I'm sure they've won a couple of FA Cups, but I'm sure the fans will exchange them any day, any amount of FA Cups for a league or Champions League title. So the worry is, do you think that, like what happened with Manchester United when Ferguson left, they're going to drop out of the top four for a while? Do you think Arsenal fans would take that? So say 3 years of coming 6th or 7th. To then start building again and start competing again, like they arguably should be the size of the club.
I mean, I feel as though some of the fans, obviously, like there's been this ongoing joke about Arsenal always getting 4th place, like always 4th, whatever. Like nothing's really improving. Like, and I feel there's a lot of fans that are probably fairly impatient. So I'd probably
Morgan. Yeah, carry on.
I'd probably say there is quite a lot of impatient fans out there that obviously, you know, if they were going to get a new manager and if they were going to start forming 7th and 6th in the leagues, then I don't really feel they'd want that for too long, because I feel as though they've sort of looked at it and thought we've had to suffer, we've had to wait for ages for Arsene Wenger to go or even to make any kind of improvement, and obviously, you know, I just feel as though they wouldn't really be very happy with like a less than satisfactory sort of finish to the season.
I don't know. I feel obviously this year they'd obviously want top 4 at a minimum, but it's probably they're going to get if they keep it up. I think Arsenal fans would be willing to accept a couple of like rehab seasons, like Man United, because obviously Man United now building again under Mourinho. I think they'd be willing to take that.
Possibly. They possibly could.
So, I suppose that's for Arsenal fans to decide. We're not Arsenal fans. You're obviously a Tottenham fan, so I'm sure you're loving this.
Obviously, I'm against Arsenal finishing top 4 any day.
Yeah. So, you spoke about the sort of team as a whole. I want to know your thoughts on Laurent Koscielny, because I saw a stat, I can't remember exactly, but something like 90 plus minutes with him on the pitch against Bayern. They were winning 2-1 or something, and then he went off the pitch, sent off, and injured in the first leg, I think. And obviously they lost 10-2 on aggregate. How important to this Arsenal team do you think he is?
Well, I feel with the competition that he has with him, like the Mustafi, Rob Holding, like very young Mertesacker,
Gabriel,
past it. Gabriel,
just probably not good enough.
Who probably isn't good enough. So like, really, like everyone fit. Those two are the centre backs you've got to have, and I feel like most neutral fans or most Arsenal fans would probably see. Like, and probably hope that he's gonna, like, you know, be quite a talisman, be quite a big player in their seasons. But I don't really, I'm not convinced. Like I'm like, you know, like they struggle with clean sheets. They struggle with, you know, he doesn't really. I mean, you put him at somewhere like Middlesbrough, or you put him at Burnley, or you put him at Southampton, like alongside Virgil van Dijk, and like he'll probably look excellent. Like it'll be a really good fit there. But I mean, you compare him with the likes of
like if you look at the
Vincent
the
Kompany,
top club centre backs, so Sergio Ramos, Thiago Silva.
Yeah, Sergio Ramos, Thiago Silva, Vincent Kompany, and like obviously the excellent Toby Alderweireld. That's not biased at all. I don't really feel like he'll come. Those are head and shoulders above Lauren Koscielny. I don't think he comes anywhere close in terms of on the ball, mentality, fitness. Like just everything, I feel as though he's like definitely one step below, like the top defenders at clubs.
Yeah, I say like sort of looking at Arsenal's defenders, you've got like you said, you've got Holding, Gabriel, Mertesacker, probably not good enough, especially for a club like Arsenal, or for a club like Arsenal. And you've got Koscielny and Mustafi, who they're probably a lot better than what they've got. But like if you look at a top club like Koscielny in particular, I see people saying he's world class. One of the best, like the best defender in the Premier League, and like I just feel like he makes a lot of mistakes. Like
he never has any standout games either. I'm yet to see a game where like I'm watching him thinking, "Show me, he's had a great game."
Like he's been there for a while, but he's club legend. But is he as good as people make him out to be? I don't know, because the reason I focus on this Arsenal defence is, I mean, obviously you know, but the viewers might not know that I had Mustafi in my fantasy team for a while. Just took him out for the mighty Ashley Williams, but yeah, Arsenal struggle for clean sheets sometimes, and also they've just conceded 10 goals in 2 games against Bayern, 5 in each one. And I think you got to wonder, like, how good is that Arsenal defence? I know he's probably going to be there a while, and this is definitely up for debate, but I just feel we'll bring into question the quality of Laurent Koscielny, because I would say he's overrated. He's definitely a good defender, one of the better defenders, but not what he lives up to be, I'd say. Would you say the same?
Yeah.
Would you take him at Spurs?
I mean,
ahead of Vertonghen and Alderweireld.
Possibly, I'd take him over Wimmer as a first, as a substitute. No, I wouldn't. I wouldn't take him over the two man centre halves.
I wouldn't either.
Like even possibly when they play like 3 at the back or 5 at the back, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
Like I don't know if I'd rather have Dia or Koscielny.
Oh, really?
Like there's not really.
Yeah.
I don't really feel Dia's like centre half potential.
Right. Okay. So obviously a big like future for Arsenal. We'll see how obviously the situation with Sanchez, Ozil, both out of contract in the season, I do believe. Correct me if I'm wrong. We'll see where they go. Sanchez could probably end up at a better club, maybe Chelsea, City maybe. Ozil not pulling his weight around, arguably. I remember you saying earlier, he's alright if your team's winning 3-0, but
yeah,
if you're trying to dig in, like we saw in that, like I mentioned, the Oxlade-Chamberlain thing, like where he was the only one pressing in the game. Like, is Ozil going to put a shift in? Is he going to stick it in there and fight for the team? Probably not. They're obviously, like what you say, it classes the 2 world-class players at Arsenal. I think Sanchez will stay on. Do you think? Because obviously he's had the training ground bust up, got dropped for the Liverpool game. And
yeah, obviously with them both out of contracts, like the pressure Wenger already has, sort of thing. Like to see them both go on free transfers and not get any money from both will obviously be looked at as well. Like that's going to put a lot more pressure on Wenger. So I think he's got to try and convince them to stay. However, obviously, like they're fighting to win the FA Cup this year because that's the only thing they're really going to win.
Top 4, I suppose.
And top 4, like the other teams such as Spurs will be fighting for the top 4, and the FA Cup. Man City will be fighting for the top 4 and the FA Cup. So I
Man United top 4 and the FA Cup.
Man United top 4 in the FA Cup, and possibly Chelsea. Like, might feel that they've already won the league and might want to go for the FA Cup as well. So obviously Arsenal presumably they'll beat Lincoln at the weekends, but you never know.
I don't know. I'm not sure which teams are left in the FA Cup anyway. But
yeah, I think you've got Chelsea, Man United, Spurs, Millwall, Middlesbrough, Man City.
All right, are Chelsea still in it?
And Chelsea got Man United, yeah.
All right. Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah, I think it's hard to say if Sanchez will stay or not because obviously they're 2 world-class players. You don't necessarily want to get rid of them. But yeah, obviously should get the win at the weekend, Arsenal. Although you wouldn't be as convinced as you normally would because of the current form, the current state of the club. You can argue.
I feel it's still win.
They'll probably still win, yeah. And then maybe they could go for that. if Wenger came out and said he was leaving soon, I'm sure his time would be celebrated. The players might push on to get top 4, but we'll see for Arsenal. It's going to be a big focus and a big talking point, especially at the end of the season, because based on the two players and Arsene Wenger. So moving on from Arsenal to rivals, your team, Spurs. How did they do in the Champions League this week?
Well,
yeah,
we'll blame it. We'll blame it on Wembley.
Wembley.
That's how we'll do it. We'll blame it on Wembley.
Right. So Europa League then.
We're blaming that on Wembley as well.
All right.
We'll blame that on
so
Wembley.
How's next season going to go then?
Well, fingers crossed we get top 4. Like we continue our form that we have at the moment.
This season, yeah.
This season.
All right.
Hopefully we'll get top 4, and then obviously we'll push into the Champions League next year. But obviously, if we're going to be playing at Wembley, I can see a lot of a struggle.
Yes, it's hard to say how it's going to go in the league next year, I guess.
Yeah, but I mean, there is talk that this is literally one rumour I've heard. I haven't heard anything since. I think this was last night. Like I just heard that because obviously the chairman, possibly the scouts, possibly the managers, possibly the players have had a bit of a say, and apparently they might just be knocking down one stand like behind a goal at Spurs, like for next season, like for when they rebuild it.
Because we went. I don't know how often you've been, but I was there for the.
Not at all, really.
I went. Yeah, I went. Well, you were there earlier in the season for the Gillingham against Tottenham game, which I mentioned in the last video, in the EFL Cup.
EFL.
So it's not like, I don't know how often the views have been, but it's not like necessarily what it looks on TV, because you obviously got the corner knocked down. But so you're saying that the whole of that's going to be knocked down, maybe?
Yeah. Well, I think it'll be that one. Like I might be wrong.
Yeah.
But literally, this is just a rumour, and I feel as though, you know, with Tottenham being like the size of the club that they are, like the likes of Man United at Old Trafford,
Massive,
playing in front of 50,000, likes of, I think even Everton Stadium's bigger than Spurs, and likes of Anfield, Man City, Emirates,
Olympics, London Stadium.
London Stadium. Like I don't know, are they filling that up? I'm not really sure.
Well, still sort of 50,000
they're probably still getting bigger, and like the crowd they're getting, like I'm sure, like correct me if I'm wrong, like viewers, like but like 35 to 40 grand is like 40,000 people is like the attendance and the stadium capacity, and like I'm assuming they fill it up every week as well. But I mean, like compared to playing in front of 60,000 players, like I feel as though the Spurs ground is a lot more closer to the players. And the fans definitely do play a part, because even if like you just watch it on telly, like you watch Spurs against any team in the league, and like you hear the fans all the time, but when you see it at Wembley when they're playing the Champions League, it's basically like playing an away game.
Yeah, it is.
And it's like the fans are so far away from them, and like obviously they're not filling the stadium. Like there's so many seats, it's so big, like such a big stadium as it is, because obviously Spurs are probably considered quite small for the size of their club.
Yeah, especially That's
and I feel as though, like, you know, that obviously does play a part, and like I feel as though, even though for one season, like knocking down a half or knocking down a quarter, like knocking down one stand like behind the goal, I think that would be much better than playing at Wembley.
Because it's sort of like your home, isn't it? It's like what you know, the fans know it.
Exactly.
Yeah. Like, so I don't know. They've definitely got, it's good times ahead for Tottenham. They've got a very, very good manager. They've got a good young side. Building a new stadium, I suppose they've got to keep on to the best player, so Harry Kane.
Yeah.
But there does come a time, doesn't there, when a young team has to become a current team.
Exactly. Yeah. Like, I mean, the likes of Ericsson, Eric Dier, Harry Kane, like Dele Alli, they're obviously like they say 27. The age of 27 is when you're in your prime, and like they're all younger than that. They've all got 3 or 4 years to go, and I feel. Obviously, you'll look at it and be like 4 years' time they'll be in their prime, they'll be going for it, and they'll have their new stadium. But I do think that a year at Wembley next year, like, will put a dent to that confidence, like, because I feel they could easily finish the 7th, the 6th next season with Wembley.
Yeah,
I reckon that could easily happen, and I reckon that the Champions League won't probably. If obviously the league form isn't good, the Champions League form isn't going to be good. However, Leicester have sort of gone against that theory this season.
So you, like, overall though, you'd rather be in Spurs' position than Arsenal's position.
Yeah.
Surely you got to be, haven't you?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Like the manager, just the players,
the atmosphere around the fans.
Like with Spurs, the fans are behind Pochettino. All of them, like I doubt there's many that, like, I know he had a bit of a hiccup, and like I heard something saying about getting Pochettino out once they got knocked out of the Champions League and the Europa League.
That would be ridiculous.
And I feel, and obviously the players, like they're young, they look like they've proved themselves already. And so obviously I feel like Spurs are in a better position than Arsenal this season.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. So the other main Champions League game, obviously Dortmund and Madrid went through as well, but Barcelona versus PSG, Barcelona went through, Jack. So, just in case you've been living under a rock, I'm sure you've seen it. PSG won the first leg 4-0, so that meant Barcelona had to score 4 goals in the second leg. Barcelona, of course, capable of it, but is an elite team in the Champions League against PSG. But if PSG scored, Barcelona would have to score 6 because of the away goals. So, PSG did score. Barcelona were 3-0 up, I think, because Messi just scored a penalty to make it 3-0, then Cavani scored.
Yep.
To make it 3-1, and it got to the 88th minute and Barcelona still 3-1 up, so people were written them off. Lo and behold, they came back. I think
Neymar played such a big role in this as well.
Yeah, Neymar,
setting up Roberto
2 goals and assists. Yeah, but Sergio Roberto, was it? At the end?
Roberto, yeah. Roberto,
yeah, so obviously Barcelona went through. Big cause of upset for PSG. I'm sure they're going to take ages to get over it. So, talk about the comeback. Jack, I have a question for you. Istanbul, Champions League final 2005, Liverpool versus AC Milan. Just in case viewers don't know, again, if you've been living under a rock, Liverpool 3-0 down at half time, come back to 3-0 win on penalties. What is more impressive, Barcelona or Liverpool's comeback?
Well, I feel as though obviously there's less time for Barcelona there. Like they're home ground as well. Like everything they're expected to do, they're not maybe not expected.
By less time, do you mean like they had 3 minutes to get?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they had less time and to get 3 goals.
Yeah.
But I feel as though obviously taking no credit from the Liverpool game. Obviously, Liverpool's come back because obviously in the final it's a lot more. It's a lot harder and more to do.
And if you look at the AC Milan team as well, like the sort of players they had.
Yeah. But I think obviously Barcelona are a stronger side, and I feel as though like it was incredible. But I feel as though they had the confidence, obviously, and they believed that if they can get through this, like obviously it was 2 bad games for them, sort of thing, or maybe not 2, but like 1 bad game for them.
Yeah.
And obviously they had to go over it, and that's exactly what they did. Because I feel as though they're obviously going to compete with the winning the Champions League now, because that's the size of the size of the club, and like what they've what they'll be expected. They'll be expected to be up there.
Yeah.
They'll be expected to be competing.
So
I feel as though Barcelona was probably it probably was better than the Liverpool comeback.
So Barcelona tops it, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say I saw a poll on Twitter, and I think Liverpool overall in a ratio swayed it 3-1. But I quite like Liverpool in the Premier League. I say they're probably my favourite Premier League team. I would say Barcelona's topped it as well, because to score 6 goals knowing they had to do it, and that's just ridiculous getting the last kick of the game.
Like, I mean, going up to the kick-off for that game, knowing you're 4-0 down, you're at home, you're doing well in the league, you've got good fans behind you, but still that is a big ask of a team that have just kept a clean sheet against you, or a team with the likes of Thiago Silva, who I feel was an excellent centre half, and like a team who've just kept a clean sheet against you, for you to then score 4, and knowing that you got a chance of conceding, to then score another 2 on top of that, so to score 6. Like, I feel as though obviously the confidence to go into that was incredible, and like hats off to them, obviously top player to them.
So favourites to win it now, do you reckon, or?
I mean, I'm not really.
I'd love them to do it. I'd say Bayern Munich are probably favourites at the minute.
Yeah, I'm not. Like obviously, I'm not really massive on the huge clubs. I don't really know. I don't really watch them as often, sort of thing. But I'd say like, in terms of the quality at the club, in terms of the team, like from the back to the front, I feel as though obviously it's a very strong squad. But obviously, I feel as though the Real Madrid one that's why they're there. The Bayern Munich one is as well. That's why they're where they are. Dortmund as well, possibly maybe not as strong, but still up there.
I suppose with that front line of Messi, Suarez, Neymar, you've always got a chance, haven't you? So
exactly. Like you're always going to score. You got to fancy yourself for at least 2 goals a game.
Yeah. We're going to move on to talk about the weekend's fixtures now. Not all of them, just a certain selection. So, not an advertisement, obviously, but, if you fancy it, if you're listening, always up for it. But Sky Sports Super 6. So, basically correct. You guess 6 scores that are given to you in the week or the weekend, and if you get them all 100% right, so the exact scores, you win 250 grand.
I doubt anyone's ever done it, but.
Huh?
I doubt anyone's ever done it.
I'm sure people have done it, but just
yeah,
not like.
very rare.
Or the closest person gets a consolation prize. So you get 5 points for the exact correct score, or 5 points for the correct result. So say you went Man City to beat Chelsea 1-0 and it finished 2-0, you'd get 2 points. Sorry, if it finished 1-0, you'd get 5 points. Me and Jack do it weekly. I was going to talk through some of our predictions for this week. So, first game, Jack, Bournemouth, West Ham.
Well,
what have you gone with?
Well, a bit of a shock, like most viewers will probably feel this. I've gone with a 3-0 away win for West Ham.
Right, why's that?
I feel as though, like, you get games like this, like, you get games where like there's a big shock, big result, and I feel as though West Ham are like they've sort of found their form a bit. Like they started the season pretty poorly, like
in the new stadium.
Yeah, in the new stadium, and like Pyatt leaving, there was all the controversy around that, and like
Robert Snodgrass now, mate.
Robert Snodgrass, indeed, Robert Snodgrass, perfect replacement. And but I feel as though at the start of the season they were. I don't think they took for relegation, but they were like around the bottom. But I feel as though they found their feet, and Bournemouth, like, I think they're struggling. I think they're gonna.
I feel like they're a team that if they concede, the floodgates open. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Well,
obviously, I don't feel as though because of the fans. I don't feel as though the fans were getting their back because obviously being in the Premier League for sides like Bournemouth.
I remember when they got relegated with Gills.
Yeah, exactly.
From League One.
Yeah, like when they went to the Premier League, they were probably arguably one of the best teams like ever to.
I mean, the States were like one of the smallest teams, you'd say.
Yeah,
so like, the stadium only holds like 12,000, doesn't it?
Yeah, not big in Gills.
For that game, I've gone with 1-1. So I think Bournemouth coming off a good result against Man United. They could grind it out. West Ham, slightly inconsistent, I'd say. So this is quite big because if West Ham get the win, then you're going to get the 2 points that I'm not going to get.
Exactly.
So I've gone with a draw for that because I feel like West Ham could struggle. They've got the players to do it.
I feel as though Andy Carroll's got to fancy himself in the air a lot ahead of these Bournemouth.
Well, obviously Tyrone Mings is now suspended.
Like who the centre half?
Stephen Cook, Simon Francis.
Like Andy Carroll, you got to fancy him ahead of anyone in the Premier League, but I feel.
Best target man in
and
the world.
Not really and then like for him to knock it down to some players, like I don't really feel these are the quickest centre halves. The fullback, Charlie Daniels, he used to Gills.
Yeah,
and the other fullback, Adam Smith, like not the quickest. Yeah. And I feel like that's route one.
Okay.
Like it's gonna work.
Fair enough. So next game we've got Everton versus West Brom. I'll go first. I've gone with a 1-0 Everton. So Everton do score quite a lot of goals with Lukaku in form. West Brom don't concede that many, but then Everton don't concede that many. So I feel like it's a substandard game. It's going to be low scoring, 2 defensively minded managers, Koeman versus Tony Pulis. I can see Everton nicking the win because they've been in good form. But you never know. It wouldn't surprise me if West Brom did get something out of it. What have you gone?
Well, I'm like you, Lewis. I've also gone with 1-0 Everton.
Yeah.
I feel
Same
as
sort
though
of reasons.
I feel as though there won't be a lot of goals in this game. I feel as though it could go either way. I don't really think Everton concede too many goals, and I don't think that West Brom, correct me if I'm wrong, like score too many either.
Yeah.
Like I think they're more involved in the games that have very few goals in them, and I feel as though this will be another one like that. I think Everton. Obviously, I've gone with an Everton clean sheet because in my Sunderland team, I have Seamus Coleman, and I have
Funes Mori.
Big Ragnar Funes Mori.
Is that his name? Who knows?
I don't even know. Who knows? I don't think he does. And so I'm sort of, in a way, I'm hoping, but at the same time, I'm thinking Everton could pull this off in a 1-0 victory in a very tight game.
Yeah. So I've gone the same as that. So next game is Hull versus Swansea. So it could be argued to be a big relegation 6-pointer. Swansea obviously reviving under Paul Clement. Silver at Hull. He's revived them a bit, but I feel like they're struggling and they got the chance to go down. What have you gone with?
2-0 Hull.
2-0 Hull.
2-0 Hull.
2-0 Hull.
What have you gone with, Lewis?
I've gone with 2-1 Swansea.
That is.
Because I don't know. Hull are in relegation. Swansea doing well under Paul Clement. obviously got a few good players in Sigurdsson, Llorente. Hull play some good football, but they're just not getting results, I feel.
Yeah. I think if Hull needs to get a result, I think
Yeah.
this has got to be a game. I feel as though this new manager's come in, done quite well. Got a point at Old Trafford, did he? Did he got a point at Old Trafford? And I think he's changed it around quite well at Hull.
Yeah, well,
I think obviously if Hull have got to win a game, this has got to be it. This is the type of game.
Yeah, definitely. So we'll go to the Championship now with the next 3 games. We'll go through these quite quickly. Aston Villa versus Sheffield Wednesday. What have you gone with?
2-1 Villa.
2-1 Villa. I've gone with 1-1 because I know Steve Bruce has been struggling a bit. Sheffield Wednesday haven't been too impressive when I've seen them, but I know they're sort of around the playoffs. Steve Bruce is struggling a bit, but you look at the team like Conor Hourihane, they've got Kodja, they've got Henry Lansbury. They're some of the best players in the Championship. They feel like they've got to get something, but they're struggling a bit. Yeah, they're better at home than away, I know that.
You look at the table as well. Like, I don't think there's a lot in it. Like, and I think this is another game. Could go either way.
Aston Villa definitely aren't where they should be. I feel like Sheffield Wednesday are a bit higher, but
I think Sheffield Wednesday could argue a place to be going for the playoffs, so they could be going for it. But I think, I can just see this one as more of a mid-table clash, personally.
Well, Sheffield Wednesday are in the playoffs.
They are in the playoffs.
The 6th, yeah.
All right, well.
So big call from you then.
Big call from me.
All right, we'll see how that goes. Leeds, QPR.
I've gone with 3-0 Leeds. Every time I've seen Leeds, they've
been impressive.
They've impressed me.
Since Chris Wood's back.
They've impressed me. They've got a good squad. They've got Kyle Bartlett at centre half, former Premier League one.
Good manager, Gary Monk.
Gary Monk, good manager. Robert Green in goal. Excuse the England mistake. I thought he was a good goalkeeper.
Yeah.
Janssen, the centre half, they say he's one of the best in the league alongside Jan Melder Shells at Newcastle.
Yeah.
Going forward. They've got Pablo Hernandez, a good attacking player.
I think I've gone 2-1 Leeds because I do think Leeds will win, but I feel like QPR are always likely to score. They've got Matt Smith in, who's good. They've got Luke Freeman, Gill's youngest ever player. He's a good player. When he was at Bristol City, came down Gill's playing for Bristol City. I thought Leeds will have too much, but QPR have done better under Ian Holloway, which actually surprised me, but looks like they're going to be safe now anyway. And then lastly, we've gone Reading, Preston.
Reading,
yeah. Preston at home.
I've gone big teams at home, always important who's at home.
I've gone 2-0 Reading, so on the Yapstam. Like the passing game, put a few chances away in the playoffs, going to want to keep getting the points. Try and put pressure on the top 2 if they can. Preston, just don't think I think they'll come up a bit short, to be honest.
Yeah, 2-1 Reading.
Same sort of reasons.
I feel as though Reading are a stronger team than Sheffield Wednesday. In terms of looking at the playoff teams fighting for playoff place, and I think Aston Villa will start to pick up and a bit better than Preston. And I think again could go either way, but I think Reading will nick it because of the fact that they're going to be a bit more hungry for the result. Yeah,
definitely. So I think the biggest shock is you've gone for a Hull win, an Aston Villa win. Is that right?
Yep.
So we'll see how that goes, and we'll update you next week. So looking at the Premier League and Championship games, we're now going to talk about Gillingham. My team, Jack, comes to. I'm assuming you like Gillingham. You've got a season ticket there.
Yeah.
So we'll talk a bit about them because I know a few viewers of the channel do like Gillingham. So Scunthorpe at home this weekend. Can we start off with a prediction, Jack?
Well, I'm going to go.
Yeah?
I'm going to go with a 2-1 win.
A 2-1 win for Gills? Really?
2-1 for Gills. I feel as though Eddie Pennock is going to turn it around. I feel as though he's won at Bury. Didn't get the best result he won at Swindon, and they won the week before.
Southend
at home. Exactly.
He's got a couple of wins now.
He's got
6
a couple of wins.
Scunthorpe
are a bit struggling as well, aren't they?
They've been struggling lately, yeah.
They've just been knocked out. I think they lost at home to Fleetwood, who were third. And it was a case of whoever won that game goes into the second place. And Fleetwood won the game 2-0 at Scunthorpe. So I feel as though that's gonna knock them a bit. They
just lost to Charlton.
Yeah, they've lost to Charlton. I don't really feel as though. But personally, the start of the season, Scunthorpe, they ended the season last year quite well.
Just missed out on playoffs, didn't they?
Yeah. They were up there when Gillingham were up there. And towards the end of the season, they just missed out on playoffs, just like we did. Except the only thing is, it weren't disappointing because they weren't in the playoffs and
they weren't top for most of the season.
For the whole of the season, until the last 3 games, Gills were. And this season, I think that obviously they're gonna think that they're gonna have a better season, obviously because of how they did last season, how they entered the season on the up.
Yeah, I think that's why they're up there. But I think I think we could say Sheffield United are probably going to win the league. 72 points, 8 points clear of Fleetwood, although they have a game in hand. Then comes Scunthorpe with 61. So Scunthorpe are undoubtedly still fighting for the automatics, but they might have to turn to the playoffs. They're still going to be winning points, but they have struggled. They've lost their last 2 games.
I don't feel they get automatics. I feel as though they're like such a team that is just gonna bore down. Like they're just gonna fall. Like because you don't often in like League One, League Two, you don't often get leaders from the very start, well apart from the year Gills won the league and retains that position, League Two. And retain that position. Like last year, Gills were top. They finished outside the playoffs in the end. Like the likes of, I know, like League Two teams as well. Like you see it all the time. Like
it's really tight there, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Like there isn't a lot of difference in League One and League Two. Like just an example is when Gills won the league, they played on Boxing Day at home to
Barnet,
bottom of the league Barnet, and then lost the game 1-0. Like it just shows there's really not a lot of difference in the leagues, and like I just feel as though. The teams don't seem to get as much consistency as in the higher leagues, so I don't really think that.
Well, I mean,
now Scunthorpe have fallen. I feel as though they just keep falling.
I mean, you look at the teams that come up from last year. You got Oxford.
They're doing.
They're 11th.
Yeah.
Wimbledon 13th. So teams are doing well. Like I said, there's not too much difference, but the jump to the championship is quite big. But
definitely, yeah.
So Scunthorpe are struggling for a bit of form. I'm going to go for 2-2 because
2-2.
I think we could talk about our defence for days, but at the end of the day, not many clean sheets, is there? I think we broke the record for the longest amount of clean sheets in 80 odd years.
Over day this season.
Already?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, in the Johnson Checkatrade Trophy, we got it against West Brom, but in the league.
In the league, yeah.
Okay, in the league. Yeah. So obviously we didn't replace John Egan in summer. Really, we didn't replace Adam Alabd, who was on loan, but I don't know why we didn't go in for him permanently. But I'm sure there's background reasons. We've lost Bailey Cargill.
Came on against
Manchester United for his Premier League debut, so congratulations to him. We brought in Zesh Remen. You think what are your thoughts on him so far?
Well, like he had a good game against Southend. I feel he had a good game, but to me, like I don't really feel though I saw enough to be convinced myself. Like I feel as though at times he looked a bit. I wouldn't say the word weak. I'd say he looked a bit more. He didn't really look as though he went in for the ball as much as I feel as though I'd like a centre half to.
Right.
Yeah, I feel as though possibly that like, and like in the air like. Obviously, he didn't really have a lot really to go up against because once I had 10 men, like they were a bit more dominant and like obviously the play had sort of changed and like even though they were defending, like he did keep him out, but I don't feel as though in an even 11 against 11 game, like that. You know, I'm not saying he's going to be bad. I'm just saying I haven't really like seen too much.
Well, I've heard good reports about him against Swindon and Bury, especially against Bury. He played in the middle of a back three. So the sweeping role David Luiz plays for Chelsea. The role that Alderweireld plays for Tottenham sometimes. So yeah, he's done okay. I think the main thing we needed was experience. So like that showed when we got rid of Adam Alabd and bringing in Zesh. He's 33. He's played in the Premier League.
But I mean, I know he played in the Premier League, and you look at it. But like, where do we get him from? Like some Pakistani league, didn't we?
Something like that. But
yeah, like it sort of shows like
he's done well though. Like, I feel like at this part of the season, it's got to be a free transfer. Like,
yeah.
Obviously, we the return of J. Emmanuel Thomas to QPR has freed up some wages definitely, and obviously Paul Koscielny off the books to Billericay Town. I think he's done alright. And then the other transfer or not transfer, but the other recent debut, Joe Quigley. Now, he was here at the start of the season, obviously got injured, saw some short bursts of him. I think he did really well against Southend. I know he's not necessarily match fit, he played 90 minutes then and he sort of struggled after about the hour mark and he's come off about that time against Swindon and Bury. But do you think how do you think he did against Southend?
Well, I mean, obviously, like, personally myself, I feel as though he had a good game. I feel it, but obviously, like, I think he obviously wasn't match fit. Clearly, wasn't match fit.
Yeah.
He hasn't played.
Well, he was match fit, but he's not going to last.
He hasn't. Yeah, that's what I meant. Yeah. He hasn't played 90 minutes in a very long time, and
for professional, at the top level.
Yeah.
Because I know he's made some appearances for the Bournemouth youth team. I don't know how many minutes he got in that, but
no.
But yeah, I feel like he's done okay. he's the sort of strong, not necessarily target man, but he's a strong sort of striker we've been looking for to partner someone in the current system. So overall, to sum up with Gilles, turning it around, Pennock going to stay up in a word.
Yes.
Yes, yeah, I agree. So is he the man to go forward? I'm not sure, but we will talk about that in later podcasts. So that's all we've got time for today. I hope you enjoyed the podcast, the first podcast. There will be more of me and Jack. We're going to try and get some guests on. Thank you, Jack, for the
Thank you.
Thank you
too.
for the appearance. I hope you enjoyed. Please leave a like if you enjoyed. Please subscribe. It's really important. Leave some comments down below if you want to. Check out the graphic designer Jim. Link in the bio. Check out the Formula 1 channel. Link also in the bio. I say bio, I mean description. Link also in the description. Follow us on Twitter. That's probably where I got bios from. They're down below. And until then, we'll see you next time.
Up, Gilles.
Up, Gilles.